Okay. We'll go in the next 30 seconds.
We're live now.
We're live.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sunabo.
Good afternoon, all.
Mark, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sonwabo. How are you doing, sir?
Fine, and you? Where are you joining us from? You look like you're in transit.
I am. Bit of problems on the road this morning, but we're hearing they'll be crawling over towards Johannesburg. So yeah, we are moving. We're just at Heidelberg, close to Heidelberg.
Oh, okay. No, you're not far. You're not far.
Safe travels. I hope you're not driving, Mark.
No. Definitely not.
You can't multitask that.
No.
But welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, for your effort. Thank you very much, Sunabo. Thank you very much, Mark Smith. I'm going to hand over to Sunabo just to give us a brief overrun in terms of PITA and what we do and what this radio station is all about. And then I will introduce the subject and then hand over to Mark, our guest speaker for the day. Sunabo, over to you.
Look, I'm not sure what you've been told, Mark, and the rest of the people that are listening or people that are going to listen later on. The internet radio station was created basically or established to support the mandate of PITA, and PITA is an organization that was established in 2020. During COVID, when in South Africa we were locked down, sitting in our respective houses. I started thinking of what needs to be done, and I consulted with different people, and as a result, we've got just over 6 professors as advisors to PITA, 9-10 doctors, and entrepreneurs like Rodney, who've been there from almost the onset of PITA, a few months after PITA was created, to give direction and advise where necessary. We normally, and I normally laugh at it and say it's easy to blame people sometimes and not do. We've decided to do it differently within PITA, and when we say people need to bridge the digital divide or close the digital gap, most people normally point at government and say government is not doing it right, government is not doing it. Instead of pointing as an association, we've gone ahead and partnered with Cisco, and 2 months or a month ago, we've partnered with CompTIA. So we offer free training online to children from rural and peri-rural areas that are unemployed, or those graduates or children with matric or grade 12. I sound very old when I say matric, grade 12, who are sitting at home unemployed, and we try basically to assist them in having the digital skills of YR skills as they refer to them today. We've trained people in South Africa. We are presently also still training. We've trained people in different countries, Namibia, Zimbabwe. We've partnered with university in Zimbabwe offering the courses. We've partnered with different institutions in different countries. We are busy with a program right now, that we call GIG, Girl Code, which we're offering training, introduction to cybersecurity, Python to children in Uganda, believe it or not, or ladies in Uganda. And I normally call children because we are all children of Africa. No matter what age you are, we are still children of Africa. So we try and make a difference, and we enable the environment by throwing in or hosting hackathons, boot camps. And look, there's a lot that PITA does, and we've started these conversations online on this broadcast platform since 1st of February. And Rodney, as the advisor to PITA, sitting on the advisory board panel of PITA, was actually one of the first people to be live with me, and we tested the platform, and we've been going very strong since then. Over to you, Rod.
Thank you very much, Sunabo. Thank you for that very eloquent introduction. That was really good. It's important that everybody knows what we're all about, what do we do, where we fit in. We cover various subject matters: cybersecurity, cloud, procurement, supply chain, technologies, ICT, radio, television, etc. But I mean, we are very privileged today to have Mark Smith, the founder and CEO of his company. He will introduce his company as well. But today we want to talk about the Air-Fibre and some of the solutions that's out there. How do we bring digital to the homes and to the communities at an affordable rate? The theme of his topic today is called Connecting Communities. Obviously making it available, making sure it is an expensive commodity that we currently have in the country. You know, data is very expensive. And we have this thing with our data providers where if you don't use it within 30 days, you lose it. So I know there's a big unhappiness amongst all the consumers, and there is some places and there's some talk of actually having this discussion with the MTNs and the Vodacoms and the Cell Cs and the Telcoms to be able to assist in that. But we want to talk about how to overcome expensive data, the cost therefrom for entertainment, and also from how do we assist and support the socially active millennials that we have in there. And I'm not going to take any thunder from Mark because this is his forte. This is his business. He loves doing it. He's been doing it for a long time. So without further ado, I'm going to afford Mark the opportunity to talk to us and share with us and tell us about his company and the business that they actually do. Over to you, Mark. You still there, Mark? We seem to have a bit of a challenge. I think we were just talking about this. Here we want to talk about affordability and connectivity, but obviously our network that we are still dependent on is letting us down. So we'll just give Mark a minute or two to try and connect. Maybe so now we can just play our jingle and afford Mark the opportunity to actually get connected again. Thanks. So Nabu, can you unmute?
Thank you. I think from your side as well, we just need to maybe to have a conversation on, on Python related activities. Where are we going? What have we done? I think while we're waiting for Mark, and I see he has fallen off.
Okay.
He will reconnect very soon. So, it's easy for us to bring people on board and talk to people, but are we really doing justice in talking about PITA and PITA's achievements in the past 20 months?
Yes, I think that obviously is a very important subject. It's a good one. I think maybe it's a good time for us maybe now just to share some of that so that a lot of people can understand our position. What is it that we do? First of all, we are a non-profit organization. We are a non-governmental organization. We are registered in NPO. And we obviously do a lot of these things, and the time that people commit to this is on a volunteer basis or on a seasonal basis. So including myself as an advisor to the board, we do it on a seasonal basis, and we actually make sure that we're trying to build an ecosystem here where we can share information and knowledge for that. With regards to PITA, I think it's important that the public or the community at large are aware that the things that we do involves not only the ICT world. It is involved in some areas such as renewable energy. It involves sometimes logistics and supply chain. Hence, I have a few guests that I'd like to actually bring on our show. And I want to put this invitation out there to the community at large. If there's a particular subject matter that you would actually like to discuss with us, if there's a subject matter that you feel you're strong about it and it's not getting the right sort of attention, please engage with PITA. It's Sonabo Ndwabo at PITA at pita.org, or you can connect with myself or at our info so that we can actually air and lift this and elevate these subject matters up. There's the 4IR, there's the cybersecurity, there's the cloud technology, there's logistics, there's supply chain, there's agriculture, there's women in technology. And we are very, very fortunate in South Africa that we have a lot of women leaders, from Microsoft to Software AG to SAP Africa. You know, there's some women leaders in terms of the legal fraternity, in the financial services area, in supply chain as well, in manufacturing. We even have women in the mining industry. And, you know, I would actually also like to bring to the fore the South African chairperson of the Women in Mining, so that we can actually elevate and bring this to the fore. And that's the purpose of BITA. We are passionate about it. We want to make sure that everybody is aware or know what it's all about and give them the opportunity to be able to do that. I think that is the type of thing. And I know, Sonabo, we've been running, like you said, BITA gave birth during just the start of the pandemic. And it's been just over 20 months or so, or maybe closer to 2 years that BITA is in existence. But I think we've done amazing work. We've actually reached quite a large audience. We are in big tentacles across the African continent. And I think our message has been heard. You know, we obviously share this platform and stream this on Facebook and on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And it's important that people get to know about this. So yes, I think that's the area that we really believe is important for us. I see Mark is reconnected again.
Yeah. Mark, are you around?
I am sorry about that. It's a bit patchy in places on the road that we're on, so I struggled a bit to get back in. But can you guys hear me clearly? My sincere apologies for that.
No, it's fine. We can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I see. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So thank you very much for the intro there, Rodney. I'll just give you a bit of history and a bit of background, and then actually what drives us with regard to this. From my end, 30 years in telecoms before I left to basically, so basically, aptly put it, kind of going to the entrepreneurship. I wanted to do something that was kind of socially viable as well. So what I looked at was basically, I've got 30 years experience in telecoms, did it up many different areas of telecoms. And one of the give backs that I thought would be a good thing was to actually try and give cheap, affordable, kick-ass internet services to the community that basically formed me. That was Eldorado Park, which is kind of west of Johannesburg. If anybody does know Johannesburg, west of Johannesburg, small township called Eldorado Park. And that's where I grew up. That's the community who formed me. And that's where I decided to firstly test my telecom skills and most importantly, give back to the community. At the time when we launched our service, we were just going to do a single library. And that would be free internet access for any of the kids that are working around there. We put up the network. We tried to get government's buy-in. It took about 6 or 7 months, didn't really move much. We then decided to test the network with about 12 or 13 clients. We got a couple of clients on, mainly family and friends. They liked it. We ran like that for 3 months, and then we were going to tear the network down. And they said, no, there's a basic need for it. We'll get you customers. And within a year, it was a viable business. So what it said was, one, internet access was sorely needed in that particular geographic location, which happened to be my township that I grew up in, that formed me. Two, there was over and above the need, there was also a need to see and be seen, which is a critical important point for me, and I'll circle back to that a little bit later. And three, it was a viable business that you could actually go out and make a business of it while servicing communities such as those that we come from. So out of those 13 clients, we kind of grew from there. Within a year, it was running as a viable business. We struggled quite a bit in as far as our internet access goes, because there was no fiber in the area, etc., etc. But we put our telecoms enough backbone to get the service in, and it and that we cobbled together to get the service up and working. At that point in time, we sold internet access as capped, and we then moved on to the uncapped once we had our backbone developed and fully built, which basically is wireless. So it's two microwave links that we take from two of our bigger suppliers. And even though we're buying that from them as a wholesaler, we are able to offer a really big-ass affordable service to our community. So from the perspective of a customer, I know that a lot of customers struggled with and still do struggle with today. The fact that when you try and follow up on a particular issue that you may have with your service provider, that person will probably be a call center agent. What would then happen is you'd get some type of reference number, and they promise to get back to you within 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever the case may be. My experience with those, and it was very, very frustrating, was that they invariably very rarely call you back. And if you do call again, you've got a different person you've got to speak to. You start the whole reference process again, and it takes days, if not weeks, to get resolution to your problem. So one of the first things that we did over and above testing the network and making sure that it could actually work was that we set up a support system that gave our customers a name, that gave our customers a face to the name, and that gave that face had to be from the community in which we serve, in which we service. So we employ only people from El Dorado Park. We consult with, and we try and spend as much of our capital funds as well as operational funds within the community. And what we found over the last 3 years since we've commercialized the product and basically the network is that customers really do appreciate the ability of a service provider to show interest, to be caring enough, to be available all the time. So what we pride us, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is if your internet is running slow, you're experiencing a buffering of some type of buffer, what we have is we have a live chat that's manned from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. Within 5 minutes, someone will come back to you and say hi. If you say my internet is slow, someone will come back to you and say hi, noted. We'll check if there's anything that they can do, call you back and say, listen, have a look at it now, run a speed test for us, give us X, give us Y. We work with the customers for that. And by and large, within 10 to 15 minutes, whatever your problem was is resolved. So that's on the technical aspect, and that is a real live ongoing service that we give to customers right up to and including 10 o'clock at night. One of the other issues that is of vital importance to us is billing. People obviously, and Rodney, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Mark, just before, can you just pause for a moment there? I just want to ask you a question.
The ability for us.
Yeah, let me just ask you a question. Just for the benefit of some of our listeners, you mentioned that you actually wholesale and you have two main suppliers or two big brothers that actually supply you. How is it possible that you can actually sell at a reduced rate or an affordable or a cheap internet connectivity to your consumers? What is it that you make different? Do you discount it? Do you get it at, I don't know what it is, but how is it that you are able to actually sell it at such an affordable and, like you call it, a cheap rate to your consumers? What is the difference?
Okay, so the difference is being fully licensed and being a wholesaler. We obviously, and then obviously with the amount of years of experience that we do have in the telecoms industry, we were able to basically negotiate good wholesale prices. Not the best prices that they were, but we could tell a good price from a bad price. One of the things that we did do was, in order to limit the cost, the supply side cost especially was a big concern. So what we went with was the microwave solution. So we beamed to our closest fiber point. And what we did in that, to protect the one link, we actually built two of those microwaves. So we're beaming in one direction. Let's say we're beaming east, picking up our bandwidth there, and we're beaming west on the other direction, picking up some of our bandwidth there. We cut costs in as far as those prices goes. Then everything that is in the office has been built by the staff themselves or by myself. So for instance, we use servers extensively. We've got a billing server, we have a network management server, etc., all the bells and whistles that need to go with running an ISP. All of those were built ourselves. So we don't buy PCs, we basically build them. We don't buy software, we'll go onto software solution sites. We look at Linux applications. We look at free to use applications. We'll take those and we'll cobble them. I'm fortunate enough to have a son who's a programmer. So we'll have a look at that and we'll cobble those to what we need. That means that we're not in, that means that we're not really in the market to buying big, expensive machines. They're all fit for purpose. They help us lower our costs. And then on, and on the software side, well, look, there's one thing that we have to pride ourselves as Africans, right? And this I learned just traveling to Africa and through Africa with my boys. I used to drive, Rods knows this, I used to love driving, doing safari trips. So my kids have been to Kariba, they've been to, they've bungee jumped off the Livingston Bridge. We've done a whole lot of stuff. We stood on the Tropic of Capricorn on two sides of the continent. One thing that always struck me, I've been doing that since about 2000, 2001. One thing that struck me was how innovative us or we as Africans are. And we don't give ourselves enough credit for that. We really, really don't give ourselves enough credit for that. I've seen so many wonderful scenes of people making do with so little that when you drive through that, my mom had a saying that says, there but for the grace of God go I, right? And in most instances, it would be apt to someone who is, let's say, of less means than you.
Absolutely.
My view on that currently is that we have one yardstick, and that is money, right?
Yes.
So we don't give people credit for what they have here. The intellectual ability and the intellectual capacity to actually look at something and say, I can make this from this. And that is what Africans do. If you guys, if you ever have the opportunity again, take a cab, take a car, ask him to drive you around the city. Not only the nice side of the city, whether you be in Abuja, whether you be in Dar, go through the city and then get out and tell him, take me for a walk. We are innovative. We are so motivated to do that it gave me heart. I know many of our cities don't look good, but it gave me heart, and I think it gave me the confidence to actually say, you know what, I can build a telecoms company. I think subconsciously in my mind it was there, and that is what happened. The very important aspect of being African is that we have love, we have empathy, we have humility. I got stuck in what was almost a forest in Zambia. Every car that passed stopped to find out if we were okay. And all we did was we stopped for lunch. An army truck stopped. A taxi full of people stopped. Another taxi full of people also stopped. And this was wonderful. I get goosebumps when I think of the love that Africans have for each other. And I really, really do not feel the need to focus on some of the negatives that we do have as a continent. So for instance, we have terms like xenophobia. I don't like those terms, and I don't like people thinking in those terms. I don't like people saying that because 2% or 3% of people are doing something wrong, all Africans are doing it wrong. No. We need to take responsibility and ownership for that, and that's something that we need to do. But we also need to say to ourselves, guys, we have the ability to have brotherly love to someone that we don't know from a bar of soap. You know, we can look at one another and just go, hey, morning, and it's how are you, this, that, and it doesn't matter where in Africa you are.
Gotcha.
You know, and I think those are the things as Africans we need to celebrate. We really need to celebrate it. One of my colleagues, I was fortunate enough to have a consultancy where I consulted to a company called Telecom Malaysia. And one of our VPs, well, two of our VPs came down as just as a country visit, but they also had their board here. So I had the job of basically political liaison, taking them to the embassies and so on, and also just showing them a bit of the town and whatever else the case may be. The one guy asked me, why does everybody greet you? And I looked at him and I went, that's just how we are. He says, no, but he took his wife to go, they were looking for an halal place. We were in Sandton and he found the Nando's and there was a sticker on the wall. So they took a walk and he showed her the halal sticker. And one of the things that he asked me was, why does everybody greet us? And I said, that's just how we are. You walk into a shop, people, everybody's saying, morning, sir, can I help you? This. I said, that's how we are. That is just, you probably look South African because they look, Malaysians are Occidental that look a lot like us. Says, you look like one of us. So this is what we do. This is who we are. And out of that motivation and out of that view, that vision, yeah, just knowing that, listen, these are my people. Doesn't matter where I am. These are my people. Out of that, grew the company that I have today. And it's servicing a community that helped me grow.
Mark, I wanted to ask you, Mark, can you hear me? I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes,
Mark.
I can. Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Company, you do a lot of employment of the local people in the surrounding area. Obviously, that's where you grew up, that's where you live, and that's where your business is based. Do you have any other outlying clients outside of the community that you have? And obviously, what is the latency for that? Because a big thing is obviously with connectivity, you have the buffering the further you get away. I want to understand, and I know that your big brothers obviously have got coverage. And bear in mind that government has now, after 27 years, auctioned the spectrum, of which MTN, Vodacom, Rain, Liquid, and Telkom, and all of those others actually bought a stake out of that to improve the 5G connectivity. How does this impact on you, and what effect does this have? And would you actually, or would the consumers benefit from that if one of those successful bidders are one of your big brothers?
Yeah, that has that will impact that. Let me frame it a different way. Since we started the business, we have seen a drop in prices as a result of what we're trying to achieve on that. So it has had a positive impact, let me say, on the industry as a whole, because basically, generally, everybody wins as soon as the big boys drop their prices. The 5G has a impact on us, but it won't be an immediate impact. It will be an impact that will probably take place over the next year or two. And the reason for that is on your 5G deployment, what you need is a lot of towers that are closely linked or closely located to one another in order to carry that signal. And in order for the 5G to work at the speeds that it does, you don't have a lot of distance on that. So with the capex investment, now that they have the licensing, I presume that they will first cobble together on existing masts, and thereafter they'll start putting in the true 5G equipment. So I'm looking at maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months before that impact is felt. But again, I think the challenge is not so much the technology type. I think the challenge is more the price to actually get your internet connectivity. And if we can stay current as far as pricing goes and performance goes, I think we still have a very, very good play in the market as far as that goes. So yes, to answer your question in short, yes, it will have an impact. No, it won't be immediate, but it will be in the immediate future, which will be, let's say, 6 to 12 months from now.
Okay, gotcha. Another question, Mark, tell me, how can we socially empower our millennials and afford them to be a lot more socially active? Because it is quite a work from home, a remote environment, and also the expensive cost of data. I want you to just sketch me a scenario. If I'm a client out there in Kliptown, and I say, listen, I heard about this company, SBS, that's got Air-Fibre Solutions. What is it, and what's the cost going to be for me? Just sketch me a quick scenario. How long it will take for the setup? What is going to be my premium? Do I have to do a subscription? What about the how do you onboard me as a new customer? How long does it take? What do I have as after sales service so that I can also have a good customer experience from that? Just give me one day in the life of SBS Air-Fibre Solutions.
Okay, so basically customer onboarding takes place via we've got an internet web portal. Customers can click on, leave their details, someone will contact you, you can WhatsApp us. From that first engagement, we normally have a 2-day waiting, 2-day verification period. Though that 2 days is used mainly for creating the customer on our system, doing a desktop study to see, are you within our coverage area? Then what we do is after that, we'll deploy someone within 48 hours. They'll do what they call a line of sight. So in other words, you must be able to see one of our towers. We've got 8 of them up, so by and large, 80 to 90% of the time, the clients are covered. Once we've done the line of sight, you then, if the line of sight is positive, you then choose any one of our packages. Our packages range from $699 all the way down to, I think our lowest package is $199 or $299. I speak under correction. Not a good thing for the owner to be saying, but I need to speak to the marketing guy. I think our cheapest product is at $199. What you will get for all of those prices is differing speeds, but totally uncapped. So uncapped, unshaped. To give you, for instance, of the value on our $699 package, we had a look at our data usage, and we had a look at basically what those patterns look like, the data pattern trends. Our first 2 customers for the month of March actually exceeded 800 gigabits on our premium package. On our smaller packages, the 12 meg packages, we have people that are touching at around 350, 400 gigabits, and plus minus on the, I think the 6 meg package, you're probably looking at about 200 to 250 gigs. So if you want to equate that to your normal data that a person would buy, we're looking at, let's average the cost out. I know it's not as cheap as this right now, but this is a price point that we are aiming to sell data at. We are cheaper than 10 Rand a gig, right? So if we use 10 Rand a gig and you look at our 199 or our 299 service where you are using about 100 to 150 gig, you're probably looking at about 1,000, 1,500 Rands worth of data that you would have spent for 199, 299. So that's the give back that we give. Yeah, and that's been the huge positive.
Question, and it's a quick question and answer. Then I'm gonna leave over for Sonabo if he maybe has a question. Does the data expire? Because I'm so sick and tired of buying data, and then if you don't use it at all, you lose it. You know, that's a problem.
No, yeah, it is a major problem. But from our perspective, your data is your own. You keep it for as long as you need it. You use it all up. If it takes, if you bought 10 gig or 100 gig and you keep it for a year, it's yours for a year. If you keep it for 2 years, it's yours for 2 years. That is part of, yeah, that is part of the social give back.
Amen.
Thank you guys. Thanks. So yeah, that is part of the social give back that we do have. So there's no expiry date on anything. If you've bought it, you own it. If we've taken your money, we need to support it until it gets to zero.
Fantastic. One more question that you didn't answer, Mark. What is your reach? I know that you said you started off in the community that you grew up in, the community that you used to live in as a young boy. How far is your reach now? I mean, you're in the west of Johannesburg. What about the north? What about the east? How far is your reach in this respect? Or do you have plans to be able to expand? In other words, the Mzansi is very big and you have a good, affordable product. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners are listening in and they want to be able to know, how can I get this product, this affordable product? Where can I get it? How do I get it? Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So at the moment, we are not in the north. We're mainly in the west. We are looking at expanding to those. The north, I would not go too far. I say we will do something across all spectrums in the north. We geared more towards kind of trying to service our own communities. One thing that does concern us is the fact that a lot of our competitors, who are the big guys, will probably live. Those CEOs and CIOs and CTOs all live in the north. When they get a sniff of our pricing and they get a sniff of our after-sale service, they're going to want to do the same and they're going to want to compete with us. So we want to stay away from the north for a while now. We're looking at Soweto, we're looking at Protea Glen. We do have reach in Protea Glen, but at the moment we kind of are in El Dorado Park and then the immediate surrounds. So El Dorado Park, Bushkoppies, Mansfield, Kliptown, those areas around there. We have had a lot of interest from places further afield, such as Ormonde. We actually have reached people in Paris. So we've got about 10 people in Paris that gave us a call and asked for that. So To answer your question in short, no, we haven't really expanded west, anything out of the west or either to the north or to the east. But we do have plans to get there. But the point of what we're trying to do, because of the cost element, is we want to grow steadily. We want to grow at the most cost-effective rate, and we want to be able to maintain our autonomy. So we want to be able to say, well, this is our price, and you're not going to tell us to increase our price. So we have had offers of buyouts. We have had offers of 50 and 60% buyout, where I stay on, and the other company takes over management and does everything else. I'll get a 2-year contract with them as CEO, and then after 2 years, I can leave. The challenge with that is it's a take the money and run aspect. So what am I doing to my community? My social aspect of that is I've now abandoned it. They've just got on board, and I've just given them a taste of what good after-sales service is, what good service assurance we have, the fact that we are sensitive to people having a bad month. So we allow our people to call in and say, listen, I'm having a bad month. One lady had her father die in December, father's brother died in January, and she had some issue with one of her kids that went to some school or whatever. She didn't pay us in December. She didn't pay us in Jan. She paid us at the end of February. She called and told us that, and we never got her link. She was able to work from home. Her kids were able to do what they needed to do. Her husband was able to work from home. And she called me and thanked me. You know, I actually felt embarrassed by it, but it's another one that says, you know, what we've learned and what we know as people and what we sometimes want to not identify with is the fact that we have so much empathy. And the empathy that I have for her, for what she went through, is what I expect every one of my staff to be aware of and to show to our customers.
I suppose
so from that
is real empathy. That is real empathy and being in touch with them. So Nabo, I'm going to keep quiet now and afford you maybe a question or query that you have.
Yeah, Rod. Mark, I must say I applaud you. I'm really, you know, it's one of those things where you feel that if we had many Marks, we would be having a different Africa. And you know, your outlook on things, how you look at things, where you put value. You know, it's not all about money every time, but it's about what do you do for the immediate ecosystem that you stay in. And one, I can identify certain aspects in that I left Gauteng after 28 years and I went back to Eastern Cape. I'm based in Eastern Cape right now. I run PICTA, which is an organization that I think you really fit in with all our mandate and ensuring that we make a difference and an immediate social impact on the ground where people feel it, where people have an appreciation of what we can do. The localization that you've planted, you're not one of those people who talk, you do. How many people do you employ in El Dorado Park? Eldos. You see?
Eldos.
Don't confuse it. Just say Eldos.
Eldos, yeah.
Let's leave the complex. Eldos. How many people do you employ in Eldos?
Sorry, I had it on mute there. So in Eldos, we currently employ, we've got a staff of 7. And we're looking to expand that. So small staff count, but 7 people are able to manage an entire network, and none of them, excepting for myself, I'll be the 8th person, but none of them are schooled in telecoms. So these are people that were self-trained, that I got onto a roof and I showed you, this is how you're going to set up an antenna. I got onto a mast and I said, this is how you set up an access point. We sat down in the office and I showed them and I trained them and I said, yeah, all the manuals, you guys go up and read it. You got any questions, come back to me. One guy was a DSTV installer, as I said, one guy was a programmer, all different fields. All different fields. And again, it speaks to our ability to innovate and our ability to back ourselves. Because all of them could have said, no, I don't know anything about telecoms, right? None of them said that. All of them said, show us what to do and we'll do it. 3 years later, they're loving it. So from that perspective, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, your social impact is minimum for Africans. It's 7 by 5. 35 people that benefit from the localization. Plus minus.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah,
yeah.
talking about per household, you normally have about 5. You know. So if that individual is getting money and is supporting 5 people, or it's got an impact on 5 people, you're looking about 35 people that would have had to gone out, or these guys would have to leave Eldos to go look for work somewhere else, you know. So so these are real social impactful engagements.
So I get you. No, sorry, please carry on. Sorry, Babu.
So you get me where I'm going. Not only are you making a difference to people that are your clients, but you're making a difference to people that with this high unemployment in South Africa, you've created employment that has got an impact on minimum 5 people per household. So you've got 35 people that you're supporting, you know? And as a result of unemployment again, inequalities, which is very rife, is one of the leading countries in the world, South Africa, with inequality. You making those children be able to surf the net and be able to do school homeworks at an affordable rate than normally as it happens in the country, right?
Yeah.
So
very true. Thank you for framing it that way, Sonwabo. It makes a lot more sense. It makes me feel good. So thank you for framing it. You framed it really nicely there. So thank you, man.
You must know, Mark, one of our why we exist is to disseminate positive information. And if we can't put a bright light under the good that you do, except being an entrepreneur, you know, then we've done a disjustice to the conversation, right?
Understood. And I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
When you talk about Paris, it in my head it's Val Triangle, isn't it?
Yes.
So
correct. Yes, 100% right.
So we might be looking at, there's a project that I'm trying to push. There's a wireless connectivity that is going to happen in certain areas in the Val Triangle. Maybe the right person to talk to. We need to have a discussion and see, but we'll keep you abreast. This is Paita, and this platform is created for us to be able to collaborate.
Okay, excellent. So Nabu, if you are looking to do that, right? My idea on expansion, what I'm trying to do, and I haven't had a lot of time because the network keeps me quite busy, so I haven't had a lot of time to finish the doc. But I'm looking at, if we do expand, right? And Rodney, for you, further to our conversation when we had lunch over December, was that what we want to do is we want to be inclusive. So for instance, I spend all of my operational monies that I have, I spend them in township. So everything I try and buy in township. If it's hardware, if it's brackets, aluminium poles, doesn't matter what it is, I've got to find it either at the local hardware. If I can't find it in Elders, I'll go to town, then I'll go and look elsewhere. But other than that, I shop in that area, right? Keeping that in mind and thinking about expansion, right? One of the things that, please, when we do sit down and talk, I'd like to get your idea on it, and I want you to think about it. I want to do that portion of the business as a franchise model, right? But I'd like to have youngsters, let's say 30 years, between 30 and 40, you know, someone that maybe has a family that's maybe fallen on hard times, but is responsible enough to know that this is a 24-hour, this is the operation that we run, is run from the heart, right? It's not money that runs this organization, it's what pumps inside here. Hence all of the social give back, etc., etc., etc. We need like-minded people because we want our customers to feel our presence. So if we can, I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to do it that way. And it preferably, if you are looking at the Val Triangle, wherever it may be, maybe we can look at something like that. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something that we would, that I would be interested to do.
Look, I'm
Fantastic.
just throwing things as we are, having a conversation. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying it will happen tomorrow, but I'm just saying to you, as Paita is expanding, um, overnight, basically, we've got presence now of a person who's based in the Val Triangle and Soweto, who's on the ground. So some of the information that I did not have a week ago, I've got it now, what's happening in those townships. But as well, I think, Rod, while we're talking, we will need you to come back. We've got a discussion on the same platform on digitalized township.
Fantastic. Yes, I remember you
Okay?
mentioned that to me the last time. So we will come back
Yes,
and we will include with Mark. We will touch sides with Mark and actually work through to him to make sure that it's an all-inclusive. And obviously, we want to try and make it local. Local is lacquer. So we want to make sure that
yes,
we empower the local people, afford them jobs, and give them a product that is affordable and it's suitable for their pockets. Um,
yes. And
Mark,
the
is there
impact, sorry,
anything
Rod,
that you want
and
to
the
add? I know
impact.
that you gave us the whole thing around the solutions. You bring the digital to the home, you're connecting the communities at an affordable rate. You want to make sure that our youngsters are socially active, and the millennials obviously have that, especially for the schools and for the universities. Is there anything that you have? We have about a minute or two left. Is there anything that you want to add, anything that you want to say before we finish off? And then I will ask Sonabu just to close off with the last, but I'm going to ask Mark just if there's something else that you want to say, that you want to just add to what you've already said to us.
You're on mute, Mark.
I sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. My bad. So I just like to underscore one thing. As Africans, we can do for ourselves. We don't need anybody to do anything for us. We have the IP. We just think that we are alone in it. I found 6 people or 7 people that were prepared to build a network for me. So whether you are an electrician, a plumber, whatever you are, you don't need someone else to help you along. You don't need government. You just need yourself, and you need to be willing to learn. That is what I want to take away from this. The second takeaway is give it your heart. Do a lot of your business decisions. Use this thing in your chest. It's called a heart. It makes you feel things, and by and large, it makes you feel good things. So what I would venture to say is do a business where you're going to work with your people, where you're going to give of yourself, and you're going to give a little bit, and you're going to get so much more back. You're going to sleep really well at night. You're going to feel good every day going to work. It's going to motivate you just walking down to your local shop or buying potatoes from the vendor on the corner because he knows you and he feels you. That's what you've got to do. So that's my takeaway is from a perspective of Air-Fibre Solutions and SES, it is kick-ass service. Make sure you carry your client in your heart. Make sure your client feels that you're carrying them in your heart, and make sure that they know you always have their best interests at heart.
Fantastic.
You've summed
That
it
is
up
perfect.
well.
That is beautiful, Mark. So Naba, over to you, and then you can close off for us. Thank you, man.
Look, I think one advantage that we have, and Rod can tell you that we have on the platform, we learn every day, you know, and learning and it's a very important aspect of what makes us human. We learn, and this conversation we've learned so much, and most people think that sometimes you need to have platforms like these to make money. This platform is totally free. It's for disseminating information. It's for supporting the mandate of PITA as a non-profit organization. And for us, we thank you very, very much for making time while you are on the road to sit and have a chat with us. We've learned. Elders is a good example. I think a case study must be done for elders, and so that other communities must have similar uh, people that are born and bred in that community that go back and make a difference. And if all of us can do it, can you imagine how quickly connectivity will be addressed in South Africa? Not only in South Africa, in the rest of Africa. There's I've come across things that make my few hairstrings stand on my head where you assume that we've got challenges in South Africa, but there's more challenges in the rest of Africa than in South Africa in terms of connectivity and access. Not only are you giving connectivity, but you're also giving access. And most people think that when there's connectivity, access is given. Access with it depends on affordability, and this is what you are doing. You're putting the product, you're putting the solutions at an affordable price, and so people can have access and they can connect. Okay, so it is really organizations like yours and entrepreneurs like you. We need to really lift up and make you guys shine. And look, I've learned a lot. You've sacrificed, and you continue going to sacrifice, and for the good of your community. And I applaud you. Thank you very much from Pacta. And for people who are going to watch this segment or this recording, it's a very, I think for me, it's educational. I think it's for us to take a leaf out of this recording or this conversation today. And thank you very much to people who are going to listen and bother to listen and learn from this thing. And it will be available on LinkedIn permanently. It's going to be available on our YouTube channel, and it's on Twitter right now as we are talking. So if you see yourself on all those platforms, Mark, please push it forward. People must learn from you. But thank you very much. We really appreciate. God bless. It is Easter. It is Easter period. Please rest, and we need you to have that energy to start on Tuesday again next week and make a difference. Thank you to
Excellent.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you, Rodney.
Rodney?
I really do. Yeah.
I'm listening to you, Mark.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. And yes, I really share your sentiment. I'm glad that our kind of the psychology of how we do business resonates with you, and I'm hopeful that we can build together. So I'm very, very, if you need advice, any type of consulting on telecoms, doesn't matter what that is, please, you're welcome to drop me an email, give me a line, and I will give you whatever's inside of this bread.
Mark, I want you to do one last thing for me. Please give us an email or WhatsApp contacts for people to get hold of you who are around El Dorado Park, who need to talk to your office in case they listen to this recording and they just need to ask some questions before they can, maybe there's some reluctance of them connecting, and they can see how passionate you are, how giving you are, and really your price is very cheap. As you know that.
Okay, my email address.
Mark? Well, Mark is battling with connectivity. He's on the road. Mark, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much, Sonamo, for this opportunity. Our email address is support@airfibresolutions.co.za, or you can contact me directly, MARKS, and then @S for sugar, E for Eddie, S for sugar, B for business, M for management, C for consultants.co.za. And that is Mark S at SES Business Management Consultants. So, .co.za. Our office number is 011 568 9061, and that's manned from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So people are free to at www.airfibresolutions.co.za. Thank you, Sonabo.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you very much, Mark. If you can hold on for 1 sec, just to take us offline.